Right, so this is a video of the next leg of our trip up to Whitby. This is going out of Grimsby up to Scarborough. But first I thought I'd give you a quick overview of the inside of the Westerly 33. That's the 4-cabin, very good headroom, lovely big berths, plenty of space, plenty of light. Going through, there's a heads and shower on one side and two lockers, two separate gear lockers on the other side. Coming through into the saloon, two of the crew were crashed out overnight in there, so it's a bit messy. Galley on one side, nav table, instrument panel here. We've got two fairly basic GPS chart plotters, but they work all right. Instrument panel, we've got two VHFs, EPIRB there, and a fuse panel, and then coming up into the cockpit, everybody's just chilling out.
Ooh.
Fairly light winds.
This is a ship.
Cracking along actually. I think this is a bit later on in the passage trip actually. This is coming out of Scarborough, so this is the last day leg Scarborough up to Whitby. Right, so this is a chart of the Humber VTS vessel traffic services advisory navigation routes, and that red line on the south side of the Humber is the recommended route, both inbound north and south, inbound and outbound north and south. So basically, if you want to head north, they're recommending that you stay on the south side of the channel and then cross over at the precautionary zone. So that's what we did. And you just need to plan your route around the buoys in that area and then notify them of your progress, where you are, and when you're intended to get across that precautionary zone. And then after that, you follow the channel east a little bit to get past Binks Shoal, and then out towards South Binks Cardinal Mark, and then somewhere around about Spurn Light, then you can turn north, and that keeps you off the Binks, which is really, really dangerous in bad weather. Very, very rough bit of water. Yeah, so that's what we were doing. So the other thing you need to know about is that Humber VTS split the Humber up into 3 different areas for VHF channels, and that's those 3 zones that you can see marked on their chart. And you need to know which bit you're in and when they change, because we were in fairly constant communication both with Humber VTS and other vessels. So the higher reaches of the Humber are on channel 15. And then at Humber Bridge, you need to change channels down to channel 12, all the way down to Clean S Light Boy. And then after that, you need to change to channel 14. So you need to be aware of where you are, what channel you should be in, and maintain a listening watch at the very least. But we did find we were in quite constant communication, both with Humber VTS and other vessels on passage in or out of the Humber.
Yeah, really, the paddle is confusing. Far better just to get the GPS. We can, it's the same size.
Wind's building a bit there. We knew it was going to be a southwesterly. We've been looking at the forecast, and we knew it was starting off fairly light and going to be increasing towards the end of the day, which is exactly what it did. And again, this is a bit later on the same passage. You can see it's getting a bit dark. I didn't take any video of later on the passage around Flamborough Head, but it picked up to a solid 4.7 later on. But again, it was from the southwest. We wanted to get past Flamborough Head with a fair tide, or at the very least that slack tide. We didn't want to go through the tidal race with wind against tide, which is what it would have been. So that worked out very well, actually. Now this is when we got into Scarborough. Now we got straight off the boat at about 10:30, straight to the pub, and we had 3 pints. basically one after the other, because we'd had a fairly good passage. It was really windy, and the boat coped with it perfectly, absolutely stable as a rock. Very, very impressive. So we got back to the boat after having a couple of beers, and there we're on the whiskies and anything else we could find to drink till fairly late on. That's after having a bit of a late tea. Now we got in about 10:30, as I say, so it's just a bit of a late session. So we're just doing what you do when you've got a couple of crew and a boat big enough to get them in. We had a right laugh. Really, really good fun. But yeah, quite a passage actually. We just got past Flamborough race just at the right time, just at slack water with the tide, and it worked out very well. Now this is the next day. This is pretty early in the morning actually. This is just getting on for dawn. So just me and Phil. The crew were sleeping off the whiskey from the night before, so we're up pretty early and getting on with it with the tide. And totally different day. You know, the wind had really died down. As we knew it would. We were watching the forecast, so it was a bit of a motor, and that's just coming out of Scarborough just before dawn. Magical morning, absolutely wonderful morning. But by this stage, you know, we'd really got to say it, you know, more faith in the boat. It was a bit of an unknown quantity when we first got out, to be quite honest with you. But the night before, you know, there were big seas at 10, 12 foot waves. And a 4-7 pitch black, and avoiding crab pots, and it was just an impressive boat to sail. Very, very fast actually, surprisingly fast. We didn't really know what to expect, to be quite honest with you, for a bilge keel less than 33. And she sails the passage speeds. I think we're just going to have to readjust our average passage planning speeds and our distance that we can do in a day, because it was very impressive. Aft cabin at the back there was brilliant, I've got to say. Very, very long berths. I mean, I'm 6'3", and I can get in there them with a bit to spare. So again, this is first thing in the morning, on our way up to Scarborough. On our way up to Whitby. Dawn with the sun just rising. We need to get a stack pack actually. You can see the way we've had to use sail ties with the main sail. So I think one of the things we're going to get is lazy jacks and a stack pack, just to make it a little bit easier with reefing the main. So it just looks a bit like a bag of washing at the moment. There's a few things we need to do to the boat. Obviously, it just needs a bit of tidying up. One of the reasons we're on our way up to Whitby actually is to get all the standing rigging replaced. That, and to get we're going to get the cutlass bearing replaced, and we need to sort out the pumps, the bilge pumps. We're kind of struggling to get both of them to work. There's one that's electric and one manual, and we just need to get them properly sorted out. But yeah, the wind was very light, but there was a little bit, and again, passage speeds were really impressive. You know, even when we were under engine at very low tick-over revs, we were really cracking along. That big jib is very impressive as far as speed goes. When you get a bit of wind in that thing, and it doesn't even take very much. It is impressively fast. Yeah, moving on.
Yeah. Oh, what a morning. Yeah, that aft cabin's not half bad. The port berths are about 6'4" long.
I was sort of thinking,
yeah, no,
and then I can go to bed when you're all drinking whiskey.
Yeah, no, I would. I'd say they're pretty good. It's just a bit grubby. It needs a proper clean up.
Yeah, the whole.
Yeah, the whole boat really. But yeah, it all works.
Yeah, I think that might work.
Yeah, that's us just docked in Whitby. Quite a tight berth, but Phil managed really
I
well.
haven't really thought about that, to be honest
Not a
with you.
problem at all. And that's the fellas. That's Paul and Duncan were helping out, just getting the sails down. And we're going to send them off for valeting. Just a bit of a clean and just see if we can just spruce them up a little bit, get a few more years out of them. But that gives you an idea of the length and length of the boat and the centre cockpit arrangement. But I've got to say that was a confidence-inspiring trip in some fairly stiff conditions. The navigation out of Grimsby was great fun. We followed all the VTS guidelines and just kept in radio contact, and it worked a treat.